Holi. You probably think of vibrant colors, right? Joy, celebration. But what if I told you that for one particular village, the arrival of Holi brings something else entirely? A chilling, life-threatening terror. Let's dig into the darkness behind the color.
So, this is the central mystery we're unpacking today. How on earth does a celebration of life become a countdown to death? Well, the answer lies in a curse, a vengeful spirit, and a set of rules that must never, ever be broken. Okay, so our story begins with this pervasive, you can almost feel it, kind of fear that just grips this entire village every single year as the Festival of Colors gets closer. It's a terror built on a really grim history and a very, very specific threat. Now, this isn't just some superstition or an old wives' tale. For them, it's a life-or-death warning that's been passed down through generations. The villagers truly believe that the presence of a new bride during Holi is basically an open invitation for a catastrophe. This one belief dictates everything they do. So because of this, the community has developed these really strict, survival-based traditions. Sending new brides away isn't a suggestion, it's a mandatory evacuation. Even just mentioning a wedding proposal is totally taboo, like you're personally inviting death to your doorstep. The entire village just locks itself down in fear. And let's be crystal clear, this isn't just nervousness, it's a deep, collective terror. As Holi gets closer, doors are locked up early, the streets empty out, and this heavy silence just falls over the village, all because of a shared, horrifying secret. And right into this carefully controlled pressure cooker of fear arrive our protagonists, Supriya and her new husband, Gaurav. And they are completely tragically unaware that their little surprise visit is about to trigger the village's absolute worst nightmare. You see, Supriya, a newlywed herself, has come to surprise her best friend Nandini to celebrate their first Holi together since her marriage. She thinks she's bringing this amazing gift of friendship, but in reality, she's unknowingly walking directly into a deadly trap. Now this is what makes the story so incredibly tense, you know? It's that classic dramatic irony. On one side, you've got Supriya's intention, which is so pure and happy. On the other, the horrifying reality of what she's just done. She believes she's creating a wonderful memory, but she has just broken the village's most important rule. This is the desperate warning from Nandini's family as soon as they see her. They explain the truth. A ghost, the spirit of a woman named Rupa, haunts the village and specifically targets new brides during Holi. The color, the joy, it all just fuels her rage. And this part just brilliantly illustrates how everything, both natural and supernatural, conspires against them. They try to leave, they get the warning, and they're ready to go. But then the car mysteriously fails. And because fear has so paralyzed the community, even the local mechanic won't risk coming out of his house. They are trapped. The curse has them right where it wants them. So that night, the horror begins. As everyone is sleeping, Gaurav is woken up by this faint, chilling sound of anklets. At first, he assumes it's Supriya, maybe a little annoyed that she's making noise so late. But when he turns over, her side of the bed is completely empty. Gaurav spots Supriya walking outside, barefoot, just heading toward a tree. He follows, calling her name. When he finally reaches her and touches her on the shoulder, she turns around, but the face that looks back at him is not his wife's. Her eyes are frozen, her face twisted into this absolutely demonic grin. This is the moment the spirit of Rupa speaks through Supriya, declaring her malevolent purpose. The game is over. The hunt has officially begun. Gaurav, terrified, faints right there on the spot, and the spirit now has full control of its victim. What happens next is the horrifying climax. The villagers find and restrain the possessed Supriya, but she breaks free with his inhuman strength. She then scrambles backwards up a wall, totally defying gravity, before leaping down, grabbing a sharp weapon, and in one swift motion, ending her own life. A true, literal Holi of blood. So who is Rupa? And why this unending, violent thirst for revenge? To find the answer, we have to look into the past. Because to understand the ghost, you have to first understand the girl. And here is the tragedy laid bare. Rupa was a young woman in love, hoping to marry a man named Aman. But another man, Manoj, was obsessed with her. On the day of Holi, she publicly rejected him, and his bruised ego turned murderous. He attacked her and drowned her, killing her on the very day that should have been a celebration of love and life. These were Minogue's chilling words, the motive behind his brutal act. It's a possessive, toxic rage that not only ended a life, but also gave birth to a seemingly eternal curse, poisoning the village forever.
So the crucial point here is this. Rupa's spirit is locked in a loop of her own trauma. She was murdered on Holi, right before she could marry the man she loved. So now she cannot bear to see any other new bride find that same happiness. It's a powerful narrative that actually echoes through a lot of regional folklore. The spirit of a wronged woman, a Chirail, whose violent death binds her to a place, seeking the justice and death she was denied in life.
This brings us to the aftermath. After the horror, after the explanation, what happens to the village? Is there any hope for peace, for release? And the devastating answer is no. The villagers explain that they've tried everything. They brought in priests and holy men, performed countless rituals, but Rupa's spirit, forged in such violent injustice, is simply too powerful. She cannot be controlled or exorcised.
And this is the truly grim takeaway. There is no victory here. Gaurav leaves a broken man. The village is left to continue its yearly ritual of fear, and Supriya is just the latest victim in a long, bloody line. The story doesn't end. The cycle of horror just resets, waiting for the next Holi.
And so we're left with this final haunting question. After being so violently denied her own happiness, is Rupa's spirit doomed to forever destroy the happiness of others? Or is there a way for such a tormented soul to finally find release? The story gives us no answer, leaving the curse and the fear to live on.